Namaskar. What is the common thing that connects MPs and MLAs? Actually, it is their tendency to jump from their own parties to other political parties. In simple words, this is known as defection. And defection is being done on the basis of lucrative offers that can be ministry post or maybe huge sums of money. It almost became a common habit since 1967 with the coming of Aaya Ram Gaya Ram culture. Before 1967, there was one major dominant political party, which was Congress, which was forming the governments both at the center and in the states. Hence, the tenures of both the assemblies and the parliaments expired simultaneously. But this began to change from 1967 onwards when the opposition parties grew in various states and they started to challenge the dominant political party by forming coalitions. Now, when the coalition era began, then the importance of each and every MLA increased, and hence the MLAs were influenced to join what various political parties or to support the coalitions by being offered what ministerial berths or maybe huge sums of money. There was an independent MLA by the name Gaya Lal in Haryana. Within 14 days, he shifted the positions, means jumping from one party to another 4 times within 2 weeks. And hence the name Aaya Ram Gaya Ram culture emerged. And this also almost became viral throughout the country. That means this required to be contained because if an ex-party candidate fighting on an ex-party symbol after winning shifts to the Y party, this is a deception to the electorate. And it also symbolizes only the selfish motives rather than stability of the government or maybe better governance. So hence this was required to be contained. And the major steps were taken. 1985 emerged the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, that is Anti Defection Act, which introduced 10th schedule in the constitution. So it was made a permanent thing in the constitution as per the 10th schedule and sets the provisions for the disqualification of MPs and MLAs in case of what shifting the sides. So let's see the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So Anti-Defection Act was brought by the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1985. Now it was given a permanent position by the 10th schedule in the constitution. So it set the provisions. The provision that is set was for disqualification of the elected members on ground of defection to another political party. So it means it set the grounds for disqualification. Now later there was one more amendment in this act which was brought in 2003. That was 91st Constitutional Amendment Act. It introduced certain changes. Now, what was the first change that it introduced was, for example, if there is an X-party and X-party 2/3 MLAs or MPs break away from the X-party and merge with the Y party, then if the 2/3 people are breaking and merging with the Y party, then the disqualification will not apply. So let's see the first change. The first change here is, in the situation where 2/3 of the legislators of a political party decide to merge into another party, neither the members who decide to join nor the ones who stay in the original party will face disqualification. So let us understand this. If there is an X party and 2/3 MLAs of this X party decide to merge with Y party, then the disqualification will not apply. And 1/3 members remaining with the original party, again the disqualification will not apply. This type of provision will indirectly favor the richer political parties or the ruling parties, because by offering the opposition party MLAs or MPs a bigger money, they can influence breaking that opposition political party by extracting 2/3 of the members and merging with the ruling party. So this can be a possibility where the richer political party and a ruling party can initiate breakups in the opposition parties in a manner which is going to bring them 2/3 of the members of the opposition party. So in this case, the disqualification will not apply. So this can be manipulated by a richer party and the ruling party. Now let's see on speaker. This will not be applied. So speaker. So any person elected as speaker can resign from his or her party and rejoin the party if he or she demits the post. We know the speaker is supposed to resign from the party positions and become a speaker because we expect neutrality from the speaker. So in case he or she is resigning from the party membership, becoming a speaker after tenure is over can rejoin the political party In this case, the anti-defection will not be applied. Now the third scenario, earlier the previous law, that is the 52nd, the law allowed parties to be split, but at present this has been outlawed. Means split is not allowed in the political parties. For example, recently the state of Maharashtra, there were two factions, okay, the Shinde factions and the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Now, ultimately, what was settled by the election commission, which is a real Shiv Sena in favor of Shinde camp. Now, here the case is still being challenged by the Uddhav Thackeray camp in the Supreme Court to redecide on the election commission order by stating that the Shinde camp is the real Shiv Sena. So, what cannot be done? Both the factions cannot create Shiv Sena A or Shiv Sena B. So, this has been disallowed by this amendment. Why? Because when we see a political party like Janata Dal United, there used to be Janata Dal. It had various splits and factions, Janata Dal A, Janata Dal B, C, D. They have tested every possible English language alphabet and reached the U, Janata Dal U level. So in that scenario, the splits are no more allowed in the political parties. You have to register a new political party in case of what? Numbers moving against the political parties. Further, the problems here, yes. Now, when we talk about disqualification, when the Anti Defection Act is setting the provisions for disqualification, who is going to decide? Here, the deciding authority is the speaker, the presiding officer. Any question regarding disqualification is to be decided by the presiding officer, that is the speaker. But speaker is mostly coming from the ruling party. Even though the speaker is resigning from the ruling party membership post, but still, as that person belongs to that ruling party, will have definitely biasness or inclination towards that ruling party. So in case of what an opposition party has got a breakaway faction, and that breakaway faction is going to support the ruling party in numbers, then definitely the speaker may not be disqualifying them, delaying the decision of disqualification. Again, I repeat, the speaker is coming from ruling party. The speaker may have got inclination, biasness towards the ruling party. In case of what opposition party, there's a split. Members indirectly or directly supporting ruling party, speaker may not be deciding on their disqualification. Now till what extent, till what time duration? There's no time duration to decide. So there is no time limit within which the presiding officer should decide on disqualification. That means it completely boils down to discretion of the speaker whether to decide or not, because there is no time boundation. And there have been instances where the opposition party splits when they were supporting ruling party. They remained the members without disqualification, and even they were appointed the ministers by the ruling party. So there have been situations where members who had defected from their political parties continued to be house members because of the delay in decision making by the speaker. Now another problem that is created by the Anti Defection Act is almost what grabbing the throat of the MPs and MLAs to stop speaking their minds, do not have independent voice, go with the party lines, because we know parties were very afraid because the MPs and MLAs were shifting the positions, jumping from their party to other parties. So they want to create a control over the MPs and MLAs, and control was increased in such a manner they also stopped the independent voice of the MPs and MLAs. So independent stand of the MPs and MLAs was curbed by Anti-Defection Law. So hence the drawback is the law also limits a legislator from voting according to his conscience, judgment and electorate's interest, because what has come into picture? Whip culture. So whip is almost like a hunter, is almost like a chabuk. So party issues whips to its members to take a particular stand and do not go against that stand altogether. That means there's no independent discretion or voice of the MP or MLA. So here this is a problem, whip culture, because the political party issue directions to MPs on how to vote on most issues, irrespective of the nature of the issue. That means there is no discretion in the hand of the MP or MLA to speak according to his or her conscience. This means what? Now there is no inclination to speak on the behalf of the electorate. There is no inclination to participate in the debate. Hence, what will be beneficial for the political parties? Only the numbers, not the quality of MPs and MLAs. Because when they are not allowed to speak, what is the requirement about quality of MPs and MLAs or quality MPs and MLAs? Because just numbers will be benefiting the party stand. So what they will requiring, the party leader will be speaking in assembly and parliament, and rest of the people just clapping behind or banging the benches. So they just want numbers. So this also deteriorates the quality of MPs and MLAs when there's no requirement about speaking the independent mind. When this does not provide any incentive, does not provide sufficient incentive to an MP or an MLA to examine an issue in depth and ponder over it, to participate in debate. So now this is actually a biggest deception against the representative democracy. We talk about that we are a parliamentary democracy and we are voting for our representative who is going to be the spokesperson for the constituency for us in the assembly and parliament. And when you are suffocating the voice of that representative, that means it is playing against the roots of parliamentary democracy. So that means the person should be very, very vocal, putting the electorate's viewpoint, raising the issues concerning the people. As this is now being denied, so it breaks the link between the legislator and the electors. The law breaks the link between the elected legislator and the electors. So now this law requires various solutions. Okay, so what are the possible solutions? Now, as we have seen, there is no time frame for the speaker to decide. There should be a proper time frame. When I talk about a working world or a working arena, when I talk about a hire and fire culture, you can leave a job by giving a 1 month notice. Company can also throw you out by giving a 1 month notice. When this works commonly in the working world, why not here? So 1 month is more than sufficient to decide on the disqualification. There should be a set time limit when this is working in what all the working arenas. Why not here in the assemblies and parliament? So first thing that is required is setting the time limit to decide on the disqualification. Now further, who should be deciding authority? Actually, the speaker has been seen what bias throughout when the Anti Defection Act came into being since 1985. That means speaker may not be the right authority. The right deciding authority can be first maybe the election commission. This responsibility can be given to election commission. The election commission should be deciding authority in defection cases. We know election commission is fully empowered for the supervision of elections, okay, directing and controlling the elections, okay, declaring the winners and the losers. Then definitely election commission should also be empowered, giving the responsibility of deciding who should be disqualified or who should not be disqualified. Another option can be independent tribunal to be headed by a retired Supreme Court judge. So another option can be independent tribunal headed by a retired judge of higher judiciary, Supreme Court, to decide defection cases swiftly and impartially. Now, but if you want this swiftly and impartially, then what type of retired judge should be this person? That person should have completed the cooling off period. So this retired judge should have done the cooling off period. Now we know many times the committees are being created, commissions are being created, members are put there, and most of the retired judges are sitting there, or the retired bureaucrats are there, or sometimes were retired armed forces personnel. Actually, to get the neutrality of the commissions in terms of reports and the committees and such type of tribunals, we require those people heading those or being the members of those who have completed their cooling off period. Immediately retired judges, immediately retired bureaucrats, immediately retired armed forces personnel should not be appointed to such positions, because what happens when they are immediately given such positions, then when they are verge of retirement, when they are nearing the retirement, they start taking decisions favoring the ruling government to ultimately get what post-retirement benefits and postings. So actually we require a law in this country which should be deciding the cooling off period for the judges, for their bureaucrats and the armed forces personnel. So here when we are talking about swiftly and impartially, it should be by a judge which has completed the cooling off period of 3 to 5 years. Now after disqualification has been done, that should not be the end of punishment. The disqualified legislator should be debarred for at least 2 more elections as a lesson for them, but also an indicative lesson for rest of the members that if you are also going to do the same, you will also be debarred for the future elections. So we require to set basically a precedent. So punishment, disqualified legislators to be debarred for at least 2 elections. Now what can be done for the independent voice of the MPs and MLAs? See, MPs and MLAs are the part of the representative democracy. They symbolize representative democracy. So representatives means these are the guardians of their electorates, they are the guardians of their constituencies. And guardians are supposed to speak on the behalf of the people they represent. So we should be giving them their voices. They should be what inviting what all the discussions, all the debates, put their minds openly without any fear of whip culture. Whip culture should be reduced to only those things in which the stability of government is to be decided. Only in those. Otherwise, let the MPs speak, let the MLAs speak, put their voices, put their opinions, discuss and debate. So, hence, independent stand, whip should be made valid only for those votes that determine the stability of the government. That is, for example, passage of the annual budget or the no confidence motions. So what we have seen is the anti-defection law is very much required in the country, but requires drastic improvement. So we have to bring neutrality in its application. And application neutrality will be requiring what neutral approaches. So we have seen the deciding authority should not be the speaker. It should be either election commission or a tribunal headed by a retired Supreme Court judge, which has completed the cooling off period. There should be proper time frame. There should be proper punishment mechanism post disqualification. And independent voices should be returned to MPs and MLAs. I hope you liked this video. It was very simple in terms of understanding and explanation. Okay, re-see the video. You can use those points in your writings, in your answers. Share the video and subscribe the channel. I am your mentor and guide Ritesh Kumar Singh, ex-civil servant. My responsibility is to come with more and more informative videos, and I will keep on doing this. Thank you for seeing it.